Hi, I'm Mariah. I'm a paid search manager at the search agency.
And my name's Stephanie. I'm a senior paid search specialist at the search agency. And today we're going to be talking through the paid search onboarding process. So there's a lot of questions that I'm sure you want the answers to. So we're going to get started with the very first one, which is where do we even begin?
Well, so a lot of clients ask, what do you need before getting started? And I think that's the most basic question that you get. It pretty much starts with getting all the account access that you need, GA, AdWords, Bing, the works. We need everything we can get from a client. We definitely want some budgets.
Definitely some budgets. Any sort of historical reporting would be extremely helpful. We want to understand how you view the data, and so that's going to help us when we start to look at the data and what makes sense to you moving forward. We're also going to want to know about any timelines. I think that's extremely important, whether it's a website redesign, any changes in KPIs, any sort of timeline within the past year or so that's been a major shift in your business is something that we should probably know up front before we begin.
Also, I would say a lot of clients ask about their CRM data, what's being currently managed. So if you have customer data or lists that you're currently using or being managed, we'll want to take over that, or we'll have a specific FTP location for you guys to store all that information so we can be as hands-on as needed.
Yeah, and I think another thing, even before going back to account access, I think one of the most basic things is what do you consider a win? You're coming to us for a reason, and we want to make sure we succeed your expectations and your goals. And so ultimately, what is your goal? What 6 months from now, 3 months from now, what's going to be a win for you?
Yeah, I think that definitely helps with us because ultimately we want to know what's going to make you tick. As a client, what's really important? Are you really excited about ad copy testing, audience insights?
Competition is a huge one.
Yeah. Are you in a place where you feel like you've maxed everything out and you want to make sure that you're testing the latest and greatest? And at that point, we can queue up all the betas that we need for you and really get you ramped up from a good starting point. So once we have everything we need to get started, we're probably going to want to set up an expectations meeting. One, to introduce ourselves to you. It's always good to know who your team's going to be. And then also to get realistic expectations for you as well as for us, and understanding what's going on in your business and why you came to us in the first place.
Exactly, and I think another big thing of this expectations meeting is not only to understand goals and KPIs, but I think understanding seasonality is a big one. Whether you're coming in during the busy Christmas season or during summer, I think it's important to understand kind of where your peak is and where we really need to maximize performance.
Yeah, and we'll also want to figure out, what your pain points are currently. Are you in serious pressure underneath, competition? Do you feel like you've maxed out every opportunity and you really need a win or growth in revenue? What are those things that you're really looking for in an account so that we can prioritize, effectively?
Yeah, definitely. And I think just being really upfront about what's going to grow your business is really going to help us to prioritize where our focus needs to be when onboarding this account.
Yeah, a lot of times a client will come to us going to ask, am I going to see a dip in performance? Is there going to be a transition period? And we'd like to say, for the most part, we know where the low-hanging fruit is. We've probably already done an audit. We know the quick wins to turn around an account. We're not going to completely rock the boat the first day and, restructure everything.
Yeah, and I think Mariah brings up a good point is we don't want to make too many changes too quickly because, the way we see it is we want to be methodical with all the changes that we implement. So we want to make sure we do them, carefully and slowly to understand really what the impact is to the account.
Yeah, and then that helps us figure out what the wins are, right? Making sure that you don't change everything in an account. You want to know what actually helped to improve performance, right? The slow and consistent changes that we're making will really help build the story through time and ultimately get you guys the best performance.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, moving forward with that, not only, communicating goals up front, but also figuring out a timeline of communication between, us and you. We want to make sure that, whether it's weekly, whether it's daily, whether it's monthly, we want to be upfront as to what our communication is going to be and what you expect from us.
Yeah, there's some clients who love to be on the phone for an hour, others who just, like a project tracker, right? Making sure that you have X, Y, and Z completed by whatever date it is, and that works really well. So I'd say we're really flexible with whatever works for you and your business. We're here to assist and help in any way we can.
Yeah, definitely.
So once we have our meeting sorted out, the team's probably going to combine and put their heads together based off of everything we've just gathered and come up with a 30, 60, 90 plan.
Within that 30, 60, 90 plan, it's going to be, a lot of foundational coverage that we're going to want to apply. Any ad copy, any, site link coverage, a lot of that's going to be laid out for you. And so it gives us a clear understanding as to what needs to change, but then it also gives you a really, clear timeline as to what the changes are that we're going to be making.
Yeah, right up front, you're going to have us implementing best practices that are going to help improve the account structure. We're going to get into reporting and ultimately a Datarama dashboard, which will be super insightful for you, at a glance. But ultimately, it comes down to what's most important to your business, and we're going to take action by what's going to help you the quickest.
Yeah, and once the 30, 60, 90 plan is pretty much over, that's just in time for a QBR. So whether it's important for you to meet with us every quarter, whether it's twice a year, maybe it's just once a year, I think understanding that from the start is something that's going to be really important in our relationship. All right, so it's been 90 days and now it's time for our QBR. And so what essentially happens in a QBR? What can you expect from us? So I think it's important to summarize everything that we've been doing over the past 3 months. And as we're talking, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, nothing should come to a surprise to you is what you should see in a QBR. But it is important that we review, what performed well and also be upfront about what didn't perform well. I think it's important to understand what the wins were, but also what the losses were, because I think it's always important that we learn from, what might not have worked.
Yeah, and it's really just a combining of the minds, right? We have found the most impactful things, what the wins were, and now where do we go from here, right? I think what we really enjoy is, okay, we've done what we can do for your account, but here are some really great next steps and some ideas to take us to another level, right? A lot of clients, they get to speak to us on a regular basis, and as she mentioned, it's not really a surprise. So what are the new betas that we can try, right? What's something we can do with your offline data that we can share? How do we take your bid strategies to another level? All of those things can be detailed out and shared on a QBR, and honestly, I think they become actually really fun for clients because they get the newest.
Yeah, and I think it's important, whether we're meeting face-to-face or video conference or even over the phone, I think just breaking up the weekly communication with something different, that's new, that's exciting, that really sets the expectations as to what we can expect for the next 3 months, I think would be, super important.
Yeah, and sometimes you just don't have enough data on the weekly basis. Even some clients, they only get a handful of conversions per week. So the QBR is when you really get the chance to consume everything that you've done for the quarter and really project out where are you headed and keep us on track, right? We want to make sure that we're in line and we're heading toward the same goal as you.
Onboarding is definitely not an easy process, so we hope we answered some of your questions that you had today.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. We had a lot of fun.
Good.
But if you do have any other questions, feel free to reach out and leave a comment down below.